first thing that you'll notice when you see the 2025 Infiniti QX80 is this is a big car, a really big car. It is a 3-row SUV. It seats 6 or 7 passengers. It is filled with luxury, priced from $82,000 to about $110,000, and completely redesigned top to bottom for 2025. But the big story here is not how big this car is, but how easy it is to drive and what great visibility it has. It's large, but it's easy to see, and that is pretty magical. Be sure to subscribe to all of our social media channels. Go to agirlsguidetocars.com and sign up for our newsletter. And if you see a video pop up over here, that's a video that we chose just for you. So click that because we think you're gonna like it. Before I take you inside though, I wanna show you some things on the outside and what this new design is all about. So it starts with this big gloss grille. It almost has these sort of wavy lines here on the front, and it has this 3D Infiniti badge. You can actually kind of put your fingers inside there. It's really beautiful. We've been driving this all day through Northern California, and it's been really stellar to have on the road. And also, I'm also impressed at how clean it is, because I know we've been driving through a lot of dust and dirt and it doesn't really show, which is impressive. But I want you to notice these lights here. They call these piano key lights, the daytime running lights, and then our headlights are here, and they're kind of stacked squares, and this is a new trend that we're seeing in a lot of cars. Then come over here. I want you to get an idea of the scale of this car. So I'm 5'8", and I actually have a little heel on, so I'm probably closer to 5'10" right now. And I need a step ladder to get up to the roof rails of this car. I can open the door and stand on the running board if I want to, but this is a big car. And what that means is there's a lot of headroom, a lot of leg room, and a lot of room for kids' car seats in the 2025 Infiniti QX80. Another detail I'll show you is this, and that is these pop-out door handles that pop out when you approach with the key fob, which is a nice detail. So there's some details that I want to show you back here as well. And this is what you're going to see when you see this car in traffic or you see it in the parking lot. Again, that sort of piano key idea on the light bar here, the Infiniti name spelled out here, and then the QX80 badge and a stacked 4-wheel drive logo here. And this actually is an iconic Japanese style mark for noting something of importance, and they actually took this graphic element and added it into the 4-wheel drive badge. It's the first time we've ever seen anything like that, and it's kind of cool. And then I want to show you this, since we're back here and talking about the lift gate. If you want to open it with the button is right there over the second eye in Infiniti. There's a really nicely sized cargo area back here. It's actually 28% larger behind the third row than the outgoing model, which is much more space, but still not huge. You may need to put down one of the seats. It's a bench that seats 3. You may need to put one down to fit your stroller or something large. But there is a nice little storage bin under here for a few little things if you need to store something small. If you want to put the seats down, there are buttons over here, so I can actually put this seat down. I can put this seat down, and it's just one touch, which is kind of nice. Wait, did I get it? Oh, there we go. There we go. I had to figure out which one it was. So it's just one touch, and that's really nice. I can just tap it, and then these seats fold flat, and that's a nice detail. And then I actually have buttons to fold flat the center row as well. So that's also a really nice detail. I want to show you this though. And that is, I told you this is a tall car. It's much taller than me, and I'm measuring about 5'10" right now. Well, I can actually raise or lower the height of this car by pushing these buttons. I can lower it up to 3 inches. So if you're thinking about loading heavy things into the car, or maybe our 4-legged friends who want to ride in the back, that's going to make it a little bit easier for them to get into. But let's talk about tailgating, because one thing that we love about our cargo areas is tailgating. So this is a big car, and can I get in here? Yes, I can. But I want you to look at where my feet are. I am pretty far off the ground, but I have this really large, beautiful tailgate area. So a great place to sit and watch a parade or a soccer game, get out of the sun, get out of the rain. Been there, done that. And you've got room for 2 or 3 people to sit here and enjoy that with you as well. Lots of great space in the cargo area, especially with the third row folded down. But the real magic is inside. In the front seat of the Infiniti QX80, so the first thing I'm going to do is turn it on. And it comes to life and it's sort of quiet. Even though it's a V6 and it's a pretty big engine, it's not super loud and rumbly, which I do really appreciate. Although the fan is a little loud, so I'm going to turn that down. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my phone into the wireless charger. There's a wireless charger here and it's a gravity style charger. So your phone actually lays back against it and it will charge wirelessly. I love that. If you don't want to charge wirelessly, there are 2 USB ports here. There is a 12 volt underneath the center console. There are 2 here and there are 2 in the third row. So everybody who needs a USB port gets a USB port, which is a really nice thing. But let's talk about visibility in this car. Visibility in the Infiniti QX80 is the big story. This is a big car, and a car this size or an SUV this size can really be a bear to drive. Not the story in this car. So they've done some engineering things to make it a little bit more manageable on the road, to make it feel like it's not unwieldy or truck-like, to make it feel more like a car. They've done some things here in the driver's seat to make it a little bit more manageable for the driver. And then they've done some things in the multimedia system with the cameras that I'll show you that also make this car, this SUV, a lot easier to drive. So what I'm going to point out here first is the squircle. We get a squircle in the Infiniti QX80. It's a little flat on the top, it's definitely flat on the bottom, and the idea is that wherever the wheel is turned, it's not impeding your visibility over the screen. Now let's talk about this screen. So this is an amazing screen. There's 14-inch multimedia screen here, a 14-inch driver display here. So overall, a quite large, expansive piece of glass, and you might think that's a distraction. Guess what? It's not. And the great thing is it's set low enough on the dash that you can actually see quite clearly over the top of it. So here I am, I've got, you know, a good, whatever that is, 6 inches or something between my head and the ceiling, and I still have this wide, expansive view of the road ahead of me. These pillars here, which are not tiny, do not impede on my vision because I have such a broad, wide view of the road. A lot of that has to do with the squircle and this single pane piece of glass that is set a little bit low. Additionally, helping out with my visibility is the head-up display. So I've got a head-up display right here ahead of me. I can actually see the box from where I'm sitting, and then I can see the display right in front of me. Another thing that adds to the visibility is this guy. This is a digital rear view mirror. So if I have it set here, it's a reflective view. I just pull this little tab and I get an actual video view behind the Infiniti that shows me that there's a tree right there and I should probably stop backing up because I might hit it. So I love this. This is a really nice, clear, not too bright digital rear view camera, and I really enjoyed using this today. Sometimes they're a little hard to focus on and moving your view back and forth between the video view here and the road, and I did not find that here. I found it actually really easy to use. I also love this for those times when you have passengers in the third row or a lot of stuff in the car and you can't really see out the rear window. Then you have this. At night, it's even better because it's a brighter image and gives you a better, more clear view of the road behind you. Now let's talk about the third thing about the visibility in this car, and that is these cameras. So we have this incredible camera system that Infiniti came up with, and there are some very cool features. So one is I can do an ultra wide view. This is a 170-degree view, which means I can see further than my own peripheral vision in this camera system. So I can actually see around that tree on the camera where I'm not able to see when I look out the car window. I cannot see around that tree, but I can see around that tree here. Same on this side of the road. I can see things on this side of the road that I can't see just by turning my head. That's pretty amazing. So it gives me this very wide 170-degree view in the front. When I put it in reverse, I get that same 170-degree view in the back. And then I want to show you this. So let's go back to our forward-facing camera. We have this under vehicle view here, so I can actually see what's underneath the car. If there's something, it will actually shoot a video of what's in this green space, and then it will feed that video right underneath the car. So if there's something that I can't see out here, and I roll over it, I'll be able to see that it's underneath the car, meaning I can direct my wheels over it, or I can stop and get out and move it, which is probably a good thing to do too. And then there's our 360 view. I want to go back to this and show you this cool thing. And that is, if I, for some reason, want my view to take up all of this screen space, all I have to do is tap this little arrow, and it takes that camera view and puts it completely across the screen. What a it's just like one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen. It's so incredible. I'm not sure why you'd really want to do that, but if you want to do that, it's a very cool thing to be able to do. So the cameras in this car are incredible, but let's talk about what else you get in this 14-inch multimedia and the 14-inch driver display. So let's start with this. Hey Google, set the cabin temperature to 62 degrees.
All right, changing the temperature to the coldest setting.
One of my favorite features these days is voice-activated assistance. Infiniti partnered with Google, so it has Google's operating system, and you're able to use Google for maps, for climate, for music. Hey Google, change the radio station to 101.7. And so now I will have my favorite radio station. And that's just where this starts. I can even do this. Hey Google, what's the largest city in California?
Los Angeles, and the surface area is 502 square miles.
So she can be helped with your homework as well, and that's worth the price of admission. So we have this large screen here. I'll show you a few other details. Our apps are here, so there is a built-in dash cam. It automatically grabs video if there is an incursion. So if somebody hits your car or something happens, you stop suddenly, it will grab video. It loads the video right into the hard drive here, so it doesn't have to do anything special. You can record something if you want. And then there's a camera up here in this head unit up here. There's a camera here that looks into the cabin of the car. So if you're, say, in your kitchen and you want to know if your kid left his backpack in the car or if he left it at school, you don't have to even go running out to the car. You can just check your app and see if it's in the car. If it's visible, and you can see it, then you'll know. And that's a great argument ender, in my opinion. And then you can also, you could take a photo, you can tap the inside camera. Whoops, I didn't really mean to do that. I think we just took a photo. You can look at the inside camera, so there we are. So if they've left their backpack on the floor, you're not gonna see it, but if they've left it in the seat, you're gonna see it, which is a great thing. So I love the inside camera. Take a photo, and then there is your file menu right there. So you can look at your videos, you can delete them, and that kind of thing. Really nice to have a dash cam here inside the Infiniti QX80. There is the Google Play Store, system information. There are vehicle settings in here as well. Oh, by tapping this little toolbar, dial, and you can set up your vehicle information as well. There's your dash cam. Seat settings, I'll show you that in a second, and lots of great features there. And then you can scroll and get other things as well. There's your dash cam. You can set up the user profile. Amazon, you can connect your Amazon Alexa account. So a lot of really great features here. There's a camera here that monitors the driver for Pro Pilot Assist here. And Pro Pilot Assist, you notice that's blue. When it's in use and active on the driver display, it'll show up blue as well. When it's green, that means it's simply adaptive cruise control. And then there's this thing here. This is automatic lane change assist. If you put your turn signal on, the system will actually change lanes for you, which is very cool. And then there's this. So this is how you can change the information in your driver display. So you just tap that little button and you can, you get a screen, you get a menu, and you can actually toggle through the menu. But this might be my favorite feature in this entire car, and that is this. Tap the control wheel there, and then you want to go to vehicle, and you want to go to seat, and tap entry to third row seat. And now it says you need to hold the arrow key. If I hold this, this is what happens. So I can let someone open the door and I can push that seat forward for them so they can climb into the third row. What kind of princes and princesses are in my family? And then you got to see this. So I'm going to tap the gear. I'm going to tap vehicle. And then I'm going to tap seat. And I can actually fold the rear seats. I can do the second row or I can do the third row. And I want to put them up just by pushing a button. Look at how cool that is. And then I want you to notice this. So while I can set my, choose my menu, there's my menu, and I can toggle through the different menu features. But notice this. So this is the toggle wheel, and the textured metal is actually pointed this direction. So it's the natural path for your thumb. So instead of going up and down like this, which is a little awkward, it's actually set like that, which is really cool. Really love that feature. Over here is some of our driver assistance safety features. So this is the head-up display control, and I'll show you what that looks like. This is our lift gate open. I can turn on or off the auto stop start. I can turn on or off steering assist, so you can see that there. Only available Pro Pilot Assist. There is an auto hold button here, and I love auto hold, and then there's our parking brake. So two really nice features over there. We have our window controls and our side mirror controls, and then there also are buttons here for setting your driver's seat and memory. And there's also buttons over here for setting passenger seat memory. So seat controls here, forward and back. This is the back. These are your lumbar support. This is your massage seat. And these are your side bolsters. So these bolsters here, you can actually make them a little tighter or a little less tight by pressing this button right here. Infiniti worked really hard to layer the leather and the machined surfaces and chrome and metals to create this really beautiful interior. The main screen is here, but then there's a nice little panel here as well. This is where your climate is. So it is all a screen and screen controlled, but you will feel it, you'll feel the panel move as you turn the fan up or down, as you change the temperature. And this is also where you're going to find your drive mode selector. So this is where you'll have Eco Sport, Tow, or Snow, which is really your off-road mode. And you can put it into all-wheel drive or for high. So you can have it automatic or you can have full-time for high or four-wheel drive, which is really great. That's a nice thing to have, especially on a snowy day or a steep gravelly road. You'll also find our camera function here. There is an auto height adjust here. So the Infiniti QX80 can adjust up or down by more than 3 inches. So you can raise it up for 10-inch ground clearance for off-roading or deep snow, and you can lower it down by almost 3 inches for easier loading things into the cargo area, or maybe even make it easier for passengers to get in and out of the third row. And then our drive selectors are here. So park, reverse, neutral, and drive, or you can actually use this single button to toggle back and forth between drive and manual. And we have paddle shifters. So if you want to put it in sport mode and use the paddle shifters and have a little fun with that V6 450 horsepower engine, well, you can do that. Or you could use this maybe for a little engine braking for a steep decline down a hill, descent down a hill, so you're not really riding the brakes the whole time. Either way, this car has you covered, which is pretty nice. Couple of things that I'll show you here. The electric gear selector actually allowed Infiniti to open up this space here, which is a really nice place to stow a handbag. So there is our wireless phone charger here. I can close the retractable door. We have cup holders here. I can close that retractable door. And then under here, we have the option of a cool box. So I can stow my water in my cool box, turn on the cooling, and always have a cool beverage on a hot day. That is a really lovely thing. And I love this little cubby where you can tuck away your key. That's just clever. So this is the Klipsch sound system, this is the first time Infiniti's had it, and I'm going to show you what the most incredible thing that this sound system does. So this is Tom from Klipsch. So Tom, tell me really quickly about the sound system.
Sound system, like you said, first time Klipsch has ever been an Infiniti vehicle. The most powerful, highest performing audio system ever offered from Infiniti. 24 speakers, 1200 watts, including 4 overhead speakers for our immersive 3D sound experience.
And it's got this.
It's got our headrest speakers. That enable the individual audio functions. So it is a whole new exploration of the hands-free experience and how to improve that for the driver and for the passenger.
But if you're listening to the music and someone calls, you don't have to mute the music for everybody else, because you can hear the call right here. Can you hear what song is playing? No. Okay. You can't hear anything? You can't even hear it from outside the car? Because we're listening to this really loud. No? And I can hear you perfectly. We always talk to her. That's incredible. Okay, so I can hear her, but you can't hear her. I can't hear her. No one else can hear her. I love this. That is the perfect way to talk to your child's teacher while your child is in the car. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Tom.
Center row passengers are going to be grateful for a few things. One is the running board that makes it easier to step up and into the second row of this car. The running boards also make it easier. It's a wide SUV. Running boards also make it easier to kind of slide in without opening the door all the way, something I really appreciate. What else are you going to love back here? Well, in our Autograph Edition, we have this very large center console that has a touch screen here, so you can turn on your vented and heated and massaging seats. You can adjust the climate, and then there's a nice console here, not a cool box, but a nice console, and there are 2 USB ports here, which means actually there are 8 in this car. I had missed those 2 before. You're also going to be glad to have these vents up here in the ceiling. So there are ceiling vents for every row of seating. So there's 2 here, 2 in the rear, and then we have the dash mounted vents in the front. But it's nice to have these. If you have kids in child passenger car seats, you are really going to appreciate having these vents in the ceiling, because then you can direct the air down to your kids who, if they're rear facing, it's even more important because they can get very hot and you may not even know, but you can point the air vents at them and change the temperature and everybody will be comfortable. Rear passengers also have some nice features here. So there are physical climate controls here. There are 2 USB ports here. There is an outlet here, so you can plug in an adapter or something like that if you need, say, to power a tablet or a game or something like that. I know what you're thinking. How does the Infiniti QX80 fit child passenger car seats? Well, there are a couple of things I'm excited to show you. But let's measure seat back to seat back and see how a rear-facing child passenger car seat will fit. So this seat is set for me. I'm 5'8", and it is, I measure 31 inches, maybe a little, just slightly more, maybe 31 and a half. So right there, seat back to seat back. Plenty of room for a rear-facing child passenger car seat. We need about 29 inches minimum. This seat is as far back as it's going to go, so it won't go back any further, but I can recline it back a little bit. And then this seat is probably set for the comfort of someone who is my height or maybe a little bit taller. So if you can move this seat, then you should even have a little more space. And I'm gonna say I'm measuring this one at about 38 inches. So if you can accommodate less legroom in that front passenger seat, you've got plenty of space. Now let's look at how wide these seats are and how deep they are for accommodating a child passenger car seat. So I'm measuring about 20 inches side to side, which gives you plenty of space for a child passenger car seat, and then about 19.5 inches from the seat bite to the seat edge. I'll also show you that there are 2 full sets of latches here, and there's one in the 3rd row. They're easy to reach, so they're exposed, and you'll see the little icon for the lower anchor there. There are 3 sets of upper tethers in the 3rd row and 2 in the center row, and 1 set of latches on the passenger side seat in the 3rd row. So lots of accommodation for child passenger car seats, but it gets better than that. Let me show you this. So the coolest thing is this little button on the shoulder of the seat. All you do is push it, and this seat does not change position. It slides and it tilts forward to give you not only access to the 3rd row, but also this will function with the child passenger car seat installed forward facing. So if you have a kid's car seat here, don't fret about having to move it to get into the 3rd row. It will work just fine. And now let's see what it's like to get into the 3rd row. So I'm gonna climb in, and it's actually quite easy. So now, let's see. I can push this button here, and the seat will slide and tilt back. And let's see if it comes all the way back. Oh, okay. That's actually quite a pleasant surprise. Once I put the headrest up, I actually have a lot of space. So I'll show you. You can see where my knees are, where my knee is in comparison to this seat. So I've only got an inch or so. I do love the captain's seats configuration because this leaves the cabin very open to me here in the 3rd row. This makes it really comfortable. Honestly, for a family, I probably would prefer not to have this very luxurious center console. First of all, my kids will probably ruin it. But second of all, I prefer being able to have a pass-through or being able to put a cooler or book bags or things like that right there in the center. Dog bed is often known to go there as well. So I like not having that center console, but if you need the center console, it's nice to have. And it's also nice to know, with or without the center console, there's still plenty of room in all 3 seats in the 3rd row of the Infiniti QX80. So now let's see how easy it is to get out of the car, which is, getting in is one thing, getting out is always a different story. But I have to say, the running board makes it much easier. I definitely appreciate that. So we've been driving around in the Infiniti QX80 all day, driving in traffic, driven it on the highway, used the Pro Pilot Assist system, which allows you now with Pro Pilot 2.1 to drive hands-free, which is a really nice thing. Now, I wasn't actually able to use that because I wasn't on the right kind of roads. Hands-free driving is only available on certain mapped roads, and that's an important thing to note. So it's not like you can take your hands off the wheel and the car just drives you. This is not autonomous driving. There are some things to consider. One is that there is a driver monitor right here on the steering wheel, and you need to very carefully watch what's going on in the driver display, because that is where the system is going to tell you whether or not you're actually able to drive hands-free. And I'll show you what that looks like. You can drive with just plain old regular adaptive cruise. It works great. It follows the cars ahead of you, goes with the flow of traffic. That's wonderful. And you'll see that the indicators on your driver display are green. When they turn blue, that's when you know that the real deal hands-free system is working. That is. So now Pro Pilot Assist is on, and it's going to hold me at 42 miles per hour. I can actually make that a little faster. And you can see the green there also in the head-up display that shows the ProPilot Assist is working. Now, if I want the hands-free version, you can also see the where it tells me I'm crossing over the center lane, which I'm doing intentionally because this is a very narrow road, and it was safe. When it's green, that means ProPilot Assist is on. When it's blue, that means it's hands-free ProPilot Assist 2.1. We do not have the blue version here because we're not on the right kind of road. ProPilot Assist 2.1. And that is something that is included in the Infiniti QX80. We're in the Autograph Edition, which I've shown you all the lovely features, all the spoilers, all the great stuff in this car, but it is, and it is loaded. For $110,000, you really should get everything, and for $110,000, Infiniti made sure that you do get everything. So I've spent the whole day behind the wheel of the Infiniti QX80, and I'll tell you what I really love. So first of all, there are a lot of features that I really appreciated. I appreciate that you have plug and go or wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So you just plug it in and then you get this entire 14-inch screen filled with your map, with your messages, with whatever it is that you need. I really like that. I also really like that it has auto hold. One of my very favorite features, it's right here, and you put it on and it stays on. So you don't have to continually tap that button to allow the car to stay in place once you've used the brake. So pull up to an intersection, pull up to a traffic light, carpool lane, anywhere where you want to just put the car, brake and let the car hold itself until you tap the accelerator without changing the gear. That's great. Changing the gear is actually pretty easy. This little push button panel right here just allows you to tap and go, drive, reverse, whatever. So that I thought was really easy too. I really like the visibility of this car. So I'm sitting up pretty high and I still have a fair amount of space here over my head. I could put my seat up even higher if I wanted to. Let's see how high it'll go. I think it's not quite as high as it'll go, but it's getting there. Let's see. It won't go any further back, but it will go taller. The height capability of the seat is really great. And it was set pretty high when I got in the car, which I have to say, I totally respect. I love that it was set that way because what happens is they're set low and then people get in the car and they forget to set their seat height and then their visibility suffers and they don't even think to make that change. So I love that it was set high to begin with. I also love that it has this, which is the massaging seat. So all I have to do is tap this little button here on the side of my seat and I feel it. Ooh, I feel the lumbar, I feel the massagers sort of rolling up and down the back of the seat. I feel it in the seat bottom. It's not super strong. This is not the massage that you're going to get, say, at the nail salon or an actual spa, but it is great. And the reason that car makers are adding massaging seats to more and more cars is not just because it's a luxury feature, which it is, and at the price of the Infiniti QX80, which starts at $82,000 and goes to $110,000, massaging seats should be included. And they certainly are in the Autograph Edition, and there are a lot of options that you can opt for as well. So that's pretty nice. But manufacturers are finding that if you're doing a lot of driving, to have the seats articulate, to have them move a little bit, to move your body a little bit, to give you a little more loft here and a little adjustment there, that actually keeps your blood flowing and it keeps you more alert and more engaged as a driver. And so that is something that we can all get behind, massaging seats for that reason. Love it, love it, love it. I also really love the space that is accommodated in the second row and in the third row. I looked forward to being able to get into some of the other trims so that I can see what it's like without the center console here in the center row. It's not a bench. There's not a bench in the autograph edition, but the other models do have that bench option. But I like that you can opt for the bench option if that's what you want, or you can opt for captain's chairs and not have a center console, which creates a more open cabin. And that's what I think I really like the most about captain's chairs, is that open cabin feel. For a family car that you're going to fill with people and stuff, and that you want and expect that luxury experience, the Infiniti QX80 delivers. It always has. It's always been a favorite of ours. We love the exterior design and the design language of Infiniti. We also really love all of the value and all of the technology that Infiniti loves to put in their cars and their SUVs. Infiniti's always been an early one for things like adaptive cruise, which they actually invented. A lot of the safety, driver assist and safety technology is native to Infiniti. Infiniti's always been looking very far out in the future, and that's something that I've always appreciated about the brand. I really love the visibility in the Infiniti QX80, and that means everything. The squircle, so it's a little flat on top, it's flat on the bottom, the steering wheel round on the side. There's no third spoke here in the steering wheel, which means it's a comfortable place to rest your hand. But mostly I love that the dash is low and the screen is low. So where my seating position is, I can see it's a very solid command center. I can see all of the dash, I can see all of the screens, and I can see the hood line and the road in front of me. And I have this really wide, expansive view of the road, of the horizon, everything that I want and need to see when I'm behind the wheel. And I really do truly appreciate that. Not only does it make me feel more in command and feel like I'm safer on the road and so are my passengers, but it also gives me a better sense of the size, of where the corners are of my car. So it doesn't feel like this huge unwieldy truck. It feels like it's a part of the experience that I'm having driving on the road. It feels really good. But let's talk about this V6 engine. It replaces the V8 that was in this car in the last generation, and that was nice and powerful. It delivered 400 horsepower. Well, the V6 now delivers 480. And it gives you really nice acceleration. So you're able to put your foot down on the accelerator and get where you're going. If you need to pass a truck on the road, you need to merge onto the highway, you have all the power to do that. You have power when there's people in all the seats, when you've got a roof rack above. If you're towing a trailer or something, you're going to have all the power that you need, and that's really important. I don't really care so much about a 0 to 60, which I think is like maybe not the most important number. But what I do care is that I have the passing power to get where I'm going when I need to be able to accelerate onto the highway, to be able to pass a truck that's going slow, and know that I can do that safely is really important. The engine has a nice throaty sound to it. I do kind of like that. It does remind you that it is a gas-powered engine, and it has this nice smooth 9-speed transmission. So I also love that they gave it a real transmission instead of, say, a CVT or something smaller or noisier. So they're able to eke out about 18 mpg in the rear-wheel drive version and about 17 mpg in the all-wheel drive version. So it's still under 20. It's not the best fuel economy, but for an SUV this size and seating for this many people, that's really not a bad number. We had a really great day out on the road and spending time in the Infiniti QX80. This is a car that I'm really excited for. I was really excited to see the new redesign. The new design language is really beautiful. The interior is beautiful, and the luxury and technology appointments are incredible. Infiniti always does such a nice job with that. But ultimately, it gives you the comforts, the convenience, and the confidence that you need for your daily driving and for every single person in the car with you.